Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. So today I will be doing some overall general reflections on our school year. I will be talking a little bit about some changes that I know are coming up in the upcoming school year, and I will be talking about our family subjects and what we did for family subjects this year and how everything went. So sort of end of the year thoughts on sort of our general homeschool year as well as our family subjects and how everything went this school year. If you're new here, my name is Davine and I'm currently homeschooling 4 kids who are in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. Honestly, we still have about a month left of our school year. We do sort of more of a year-round school year, so we take a few more breaks throughout the year, but then we also homeschool a little bit later into the summer and we start a little bit, well, early for us. But school districts in our district usually start like after Labor Day, and so we start a little bit earlier than that. We will take a 6 to 8 week break, usually in the summer, but I do generally have most of my kids working on a little bit of stuff during that time. So sort of year-round homeschoolers, but we do more serious homeschooling from usually mid-August till June, mid-June to end of June, depending on the year. This past school year, we didn't get started with school until after Labor Day, and that is actually a very late start for me. I like to start mid-August, so I started really 2.5 to 3 weeks later than I normally like to start. And for a while there, I thought I'd have to end mid-June because of trips that might be coming up. But at this point, we don't have trips planned until after the end of June. And so we will be homeschooling till almost the end of June. We are going to start tapering off. So there are things that I have finished or completed at this point, and I do hope that the workload does decrease as we go throughout this month of June, but we are still following our schedule for homeschooling for the most part. Today's video is a collaboration hosted by myself and Shauna from Homegrown Homeschool. A bunch of other moms will be joining in on this collaboration, giving their reflections on how the school year went. So I will link a playlist in the description box below. You can check that out if you want to see everyone's end of the year reflections. And for me, today's video is the first of my reflections series. Today, I'll be sharing my overall impressions of the school year, as well as how our family subjects went. I will be making separate videos coming up after this on my 6th and 7th graders work, and then my 8th/9th graders work, and then my 9th graders work, and maybe I will end the year with my morning basket. So do stick around if you like these end of the year sort of things. We'll be talking about our curriculum and how things went and just overall how the stuff that we used worked for us this school year. So if you like stuff like that, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Okay, so I want to start with just general overall picture of our school year, what went as expected, what did not go as expected, etc., etc. So if you have been with me for a while, you know that this was a big change this school year. My oldest, who went into 9th grade this year, she has started attending more of a hybrid school. And so it is a public school, and generally they'll do 5 classes at the school. It's twice a week. They do the 5 classes and then they give homework for the other days. So they're doing homework on the other days, and the parent is usually responsible for an elective. Now they're very flexible, and we have changed it to more of a 4 classes at the school, 2 classes at home sort of situation. So this school year I took over her science, and then she has been doing electives with me at home. And then at the school, she's been doing American literature, she's been doing American history, career explorations, and a math with her resource room teacher. And so that has actually gone really well. It is everything I had hoped for. It has been a really nice balance for us between having 2 days where she's at school and then having her home for the rest of the days. It's been nice to have the balance of family time and independent individual time. I was concerned about the travel time that it takes to take her there, because it's about 25 minutes away. So the travel time there and back, and worrying about how that might cut into our school day as far as me and especially my middle school boys, because they still need me to pretty much direct almost everything that they're doing. They're not super independent yet. So I was worried about that, and I wasn't sure how that would go. Turns out it's been great. It's been amazing. It has been a really great time. My boys have done really well on those Mondays and Wednesdays when I drop her off at school. We have been able to book a library conference room, so just a small room with a table, a TV, a whiteboard, and it has been a really great focus time for me and my boys. We know that we have those 2 days a week to focus on their independent work, anything I need to do corrections with them on, anything I need to really be more specifically teaching them, like language arts, writing, and things like that. We've had our own science with them, our own history with them. And so that has actually worked out really well. So next year, the schedule is not changing a lot. It is probably going to be changing a little bit. And so this is what I know so far for next year. I know that my daughter's resource room teacher, she is planning on doing sort of a fun Friday with a few classes on Friday. And when she told me about the classes, I think that these would be good classes for her to participate in. And so I will probably plan on going out there 3 days a week. And last year, the thought of doing that would have been like, oh, that's a lot of time, not at home, doing family time. It's a lot of driving. It takes another day away from our group work, our full family group work, things like that. But I do feel like in this upcoming year, it's sort of that time. It's time to start moving, as we are moving slowly away from as much group time as a family and a little more towards the independent work. It's just kind of the shift that happens for many kids as they're going into high school. I will have 2 high schoolers next year, and just the one is still going to be going to the hybrid school. My 8th grader, who's officially starting 9th grade, even though she's kind of 9th grade in my mind already. She will be officially in 9th grade this upcoming school year, and she will be happy to have even more independent work. She just likes to do things more on her own. I do plan still on doing some group work with the whole family, and I'm still going to be ironing that out as far as what that is going to look like. But we will have more independent work, or I will have more time working specifically with my 2 middle school boys if I'm driving to drop my daughter off 3 times a week. Now, Friday is going to be a shorter day. It's only 3 hours versus she's normally there for 4.5 hours. So it's going to be a shorter block, but it is going to just take away one day that we normally would be doing group work as a family. So that is a change. I'm not as upset about it as I would have been last year with losing another day. I just think it's that natural progression. So I'm sure that I will be able to use this time really well with the boys. And now that I know how well our Mondays and Wednesdays have gone when we've been on the road, when we've been able to listen to lots of audiobooks, and I've really enjoyed doing all of that, having about an hour in the car with audiobooks twice a week. And now I get to do that 3 times a week, and having that more dedicated time where it's just focused on my middle school boys and no distractions around. So that is one of the changes that are coming up for the upcoming school year, and that was something I was worried about this last school year, and it went really, really great. Now, everything else. So middle school, the boys, it's been great doing library school, as I call it. My daughter going to this new hybrid school, it's gone really well. It was bumpy at the beginning. There were many times where it's just an adjustment. It's adjustment having different teachers and expectations. And she's worked really hard and tried to keep up on her work, but it is a new environment for her. And so we had some bumps at the beginning. She got really smooth and got really good at turning stuff in. And then I think we started getting tired, and then we had to reinvigorate ourselves and get caught up on work and things like that. So it's just a new experience. overall it's been a good experience, though it has had its bumps along the way. So that has been good. It's been good in general. It's been good. And then as far as my 8th/9th grader, the one that's going into 9th grade officially this year, she has enjoyed her time at home when I'm with the boys and dropping my daughter off at school. She has enjoyed her time. She has a lot of flexibility with her schoolwork. I give her her week of school and she is able to sort of plan that and do that how she wants. She generally starts her schoolwork like on a Sunday night, and she likes to finish usually by Thursday, which is totally fine as long as she gets the work done. So she kind of works throughout the day. She works in the morning, she works in the evening, she works when she wants to, and she really likes that, and she likes that independence. She likes to not have to wait for other people. That being said, we have continued to do 2 to 3 days of group time together as a group, and that is going so much more smoothly than it did the first few years of our homeschooling. I think people are just used to it. The attitudes are better. Yeah, it took a while. It took a while to get to the point where people's attitudes are generally good. People don't freak out when something new is happening. So overall, that has been good. Sometimes we haven't been able to do the group time as much as I would like, because I'm used to doing at least 4 to 5 days a week, and now it's 2 to 3 days a week, and then next year it's going to be probably more 1 to 2 days a week. So that's going to be an adjustment, but I think I'm ready for it. And yeah, good stuff has come from the changes. Just having kids that are getting older and moving on into the higher grades and higher levels. So yeah, overall it's been a good school year. You know, if you've been here, that I got to take my daughter, who's the 8th/9th grader, to Taiwan in March, and that was such a good trip. We had such a good time. It just felt so normal to be there. I haven't been back in, I guess, 13 years. The last time I was there, I was picking her up. So yeah, it just felt like normal, it felt like home for me. And it was really nice to be able to see where my sister and brother-in-law and my niece live right now. And my younger brother, who's lived there for years, I got to see where he lives and kind of get to, yeah, spend time with my family and some friends that I still have from Taiwan. And we traveled all over the island from the south tip to the north tip. It's a small island, but we were traveling all over the place. I've never done that much traveling within Taiwan in such a short amount of time. But it was really nice. 3 weeks, really enjoyed it. My daughter really enjoyed it, and she, yeah, got to experience Taiwan for reals for the first time, and yeah, she really liked that. So it was a really good trip. And so part of the reason why we are homeschooling till the end of June is because we did take that 3-week trip, which technically one of those would have been our spring break, but there's still 2 weeks that we were pretty much gone, not doing much homeschool. And so that's kind of why I'm trying to keep going strong until the end of June, especially since we started so late this last school year. I'm hoping this upcoming school year we'll be able to start more mid-August like normal. We will see how that goes. So that is sort of how our school year went. It went probably better than expected in general. That being said, it is a little rough here towards the end for a few of my kids who struggle with just keeping up with schoolwork and keeping a good attitude. We're starting to fall off the rails a little bit here. We're trying to keep pushing forward. Yeah, so that is how things have gone and sort of what I think is going to happen in the upcoming school year. Now, I want to go into our family subjects. And so these are the subjects or the group subjects that we did either 2 to 3 times a week, depending on when we could. And I just rotated through these subjects. So the first one I want to talk about is one that we are finishing after 3 years of working on this, and that is Guest Hollows Junior Anatomy. It says for grades 3 to 8. I think that is actually a really good level, 3 to 8, and we've been doing it obviously for 3 years now. And so my oldest is in 9th grade. We're just finishing off. Mostly we've been working on like disease, infection. I think we started the school year with like skin, this like I don't know what it's called. Yeah, the system that involves your skin. I can't even say it. So we did that at the beginning of the school year. I think we did kidneys and stuff too. So that at the beginning of the school year, and then we moved more into infectious diseases. And so we read Fever 1793. And we've been ending it with a little more on like diseases and stuff. So we've been reading this, The Invincible Microbe. So it's about tuberculosis. So this is a living book about just the story of tuberculosis and how it's been killing like so many people throughout the years, and then the many different types of cures that people thought they had, and sort of the strange remedies that they had, and just kind of trying to figure out how to beat this. So we've been doing this for a lot of this term. Yeah, we read about 3 or maybe 4 to 5 pages each time. It's been pretty interesting. So I'm glad we're reading that, but it has definitely taken us a long time. And then we've been working on stuff like talking about, I have this straight talk smoking, which is not too applicable, I don't think, nowadays. It's more vaping nowadays. So I'm just kind of reading that saying, hey, substitute vaping for this. I'm going to find some YouTube videos to talk about vaping because I really just think that that is what lots of kids are doing now in public schools. And we also did one on drugs, which is obviously still around. And so we did one on drugs. And that's sort of how we're going to end the year. I am having my boys read the Ultimate Guy Stuff book, I believe, to tackle some of their questions about puberty and things like that. So I will link that there. That is a Christian resource. So they're reading that towards the end of the school year. And that's sort of what we've been doing for health. We've been doing this maybe once every week or less. So not a lot. We didn't have a lot to finish up in here. And so I didn't schedule it out very much. We just did it slowly throughout the year. The next one that we have also been working on for 3 years now is Guest Hollow's High School Geography and Cultures curriculum. We finished up Southeast Asia at the beginning of the year, and then we moved into the Pacific Islands and Oceania, and that is sort of what we've done this year. So once again, very slowly, basically once a week, pretty much. And so we have not finished this yet though. We just finished up the Eastern Hemisphere, which is what I planned on doing. I have created some videos that talk about some of the readers and read alouds and things that we've done or planned on doing during these units. And so I will link those below. So I have one on Southeast Asia. I have one on Oceania, sort of that region. So if you're interested in hearing the read alouds or the readers that I made available for my kids while we were going through this, you can go ahead and check out those videos. I think for the Pacific Islands, a lot of my kids have read The Shark Collar. So this is set somewhere in the Pacific Islands. Oh, Papua New Guinea, shores of Papua New Guinea. So a lot of them chose to read that. I had kids that read this one. So Shinji Takahashi, Into the Heart of the Storm, also set sort of in the Pacific Islands. We have been reading Peace Child. I've talked about that a little bit. That's a missionary story set in Papua New Guinea, and definitely sensitive content. So please pre-read or research before you start reading that out loud to your kids. There was definitely some parts where we were listening to the audiobook in the car, and I just kind of fast forwarded through some of the more graphic details. So there are some graphic details. There's cannibalism involved. Overall, it's a good story. It's very high level. I'd say the language is quite high level for my kids. So more appropriate for high school, but yeah, just challenging. I guess their reading level or listening level, their vocabulary level. I don't know if they were always following along, but overall they got the gist of it. We're still actually finishing it up, probably tomorrow or the next Wednesday that we are headed down, but we have been reading or listening to that for pretty much the last term. And just to go back on some of the readers that my kids did for Southeast Asia, a lot of the kids did the last map reader. I'll put that up there. And Listen Slowly, I'll also put that up there. So those are just some of the readers that they've been doing that specifically involve geography. They did read a lot of other ones that have to do with history, but history wasn't really a group subject this school year. So I'll be talking more about history in other videos. And before I move on from geography, I do want to mention that we are going to be continuing using this for our 4th year. Next year, we have not gotten into South America or Europe yet, and so I'm planning on doing that with all of my kids, and then my 2 high schoolers, they're finally gonna get a full world geography credit once they finish those sections. So that is in the books for next year, so we will continue to use this for the 4th year in a row. Guest Hollow just has so many resources, and we like to do a lot of variety of things, and so we've just been taking our time with this geography, and it's been such a great resource. I can easily see myself going back and kind of going through it again with my middle schoolers as they are coming up into high school, just using some different resources that they mention and having them do the online textbook and all of those things that they haven't done in our first round. So easily a curriculum that you can use sort of at least twice if you start in middle school, and you start with the middle school resources, and then you can move into more high school resources as you move through the years. So we're planning on doing that again in the upcoming school year, and maybe the year after that, I don't know. Then we have Living Harmonies. So this is a world music cultural sort of unit by Thistles and Biscuits. This is volume 1. They do have volume 2 right now. They didn't have it when I first purchased it. And what I did was I went through all the different units, kind of plotted out where the music is from originally. And as we've been traveling around the world in our world geography, I've been pulling out different units and studying music that comes from that area. So we are almost done this. We are not quite done it. I would say we started a year and a half ago. We're gonna do next year musical theater. I might wait till we go to Europe for that. We have Cambia, so when we study Colombia, we can do that. And we have Scandinavian folk music. And so that's actually all of term 3. So we'll be doing term 3 in the next school year when we are studying those parts of the world in geography. So as far as what we plan on doing next year for family subjects so far, you can tell I will be doing geography and I will be doing the rest of this music. So those are some of the plans I have for our 1 to 2 times a week that we're meeting together. Okay, another thing that we have been doing as a group this year has been HiGASFY. This is the Renaissance period. Basically, we are just mostly watching the videos. There are 12 video lessons. This is an art history program. They do have like a PDF download that involves a lot of integrations. So they do have comprehension questions, they have group activities, they have vocabulary, they have different things you can do for sketching and stuff like that. But we have really just been using it as a art history program. I still do have at least 3 of these lessons left, but I've been sort of focusing on finishing up some of my other things before we go into this. So towards the end of the year, we will be finishing this off. And I do have the next one coming, Baroque. We have the Baroque period coming up next school year. So that will also be one of our family subjects or group subjects in the upcoming school year. So I have enjoyed this. It is a bit pricey. I would suggest that if you do plan on using this, you probably do want to try to find a way to use the resources just to make that price worth it, because it's 12 video lessons and I don't feel like it's too worth it if you're just watching the video lessons like us. So I would definitely try to incorporate, like just know that there are things to incorporate and try to incorporate as much as you can to make that a course that is worth it. But we have been enjoying that. It is sort of for, I think it's like 2nd or 3rd grade up to, they say 8th grade. And I'm gonna say that's okay if your kids are not inclined to think that things are a little bit babyish. There's really good information, but I would say 6th or 7th grade might start getting a little iffy. My kids are okay with it. There is enough interesting information, but the way that it's presented can be a little bit childish in a way. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking at HiGASFY. Definitely, I would say it's really good for 5th and 6th grade, or maybe 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, I think would be a really good age for this series. Okay, before I talk about the last thing that we've been doing as a family, I did want to just remind you that we did do an elections unit. So we had an election 2024 by Emily from Build Your Library. That was like a 3-week elections unit that we probably took 8, 9, 10 weeks to do. It involved a few books. There were 3 to 4 books that it covered. So we got a general idea of how elections worked. We did enjoy the books. It was a nice little unit to do right before elections. I wanted to do something, but I didn't have a lot of time, and so that really fit very well. So I'll link a picture of that here. I will put a link to that below, as well as everything else I mentioned here in the description box below, so check those out if you're interested in taking a look at anything I've mentioned here. Now, the last thing that we have done as a family, and this is one that I am the furthest behind at this point. We didn't start till the 3rd term. We have been enjoying it, but it is starting to drag out a little bit, I would say, at the point that we're at. So we have been doing Evolution, the Grand Experiment, Volume 1 by Dr. Carl Werner, and we are almost halfway there. This is one I'm trying to do like every day right now to try to get as far as we can. It has some really great information. It has some, in the beginning, I would say it talks a lot about evolutionists and why they don't agree, like chapter 2, spontaneous generation, and all the things that they said that ended up being scientifically disproven. We have things about acquired characteristics, so we've done that, chance mutations, natural selection, how they think that these things are related and how many steps it would take to get from this hyena-like creature into a whale. Yeah, so a lot of things like that. And we are currently into like the fossil record and all the different fossil records and how they haven't really found like those species in between. And there's like a huge amount of fossils that have been found, and there's not enough of those, like the in-between transitional fossils that we should see if evolution was something that actually happened. So this is what we have been doing. I think I mentioned that we started the series by watching this, Unlocking the Mystery of Life. And this was really cool. This was about intelligent design and how scientists have found like these tiny microorganisms that have like just incredible mechanisms in them. And it's sort of just like all these things would have to evolve suddenly at the same time for it to work. So that was really cool. And we're going to end the series with this, Icons of Evolution. So this and this book were 2 things that came in Sunlight G that my daughter, my current 9th grade daughter, she was doing for science last year, and that was sort of a part of her science program that I had her not do so that we could do as a family. And so I'm hoping I can finish this up. I'm going to try to double up on lessons, and I'm definitely going to try to get to this video. If we don't finish it, I'm not sure if it's something I would pick up in the upcoming school year. Probably not. But overall, it has been a year where we've been talking a lot about this sort of stuff, and we've learned a lot about this in this school year. So it's been a really good topic to be covering, I think, at this point when my kids are sort of at the end of middle school / the beginning of high school, especially if they're moving into like public high schools as they're getting older, or going to the hybrid school, or yeah, just to have a foundation in that before they go. So that is our group subjects for this school year. I hope that gave you a good idea of how things went. Like I said, don't forget to come back for my more specific updates on my 6th and 7th graders curriculum and all that they did, my 8th / 9th graders curriculum, and what I've done with my 9th grader this school year, and then my morning basket and what we've done in there and how things have gone for that. So come back for those videos. Thanks so much for coming today. Don't forget to check the playlist below to see what all the other moms say about their homeschooling years and their reflections on their general homeschooling years. Thanks so much for coming today, and I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye everyone.